Well, good morning. What a beautiful day. Look at that sky behind me. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, it's been a little while, but life's been quite busy. One thing and another. I've had things to do inside the cottage and various appointments as well. And now it's a glorious sunny day and it's cold though, so I've got the big fleece on. Well, this is part 2 of rewilding the garden. Now, as you know, quite a bit of the garden is fairly wild already, so I've got to shield my eyes from the sun. Let's come round this way a bit and see if that's better. And yeah, it's a case of looking and seeing where I can extend. Now, as you know if you watch some of my other videos, that the top half of the garden, which is this section here, is already quite wild. I don't do much to it. It fairly much looks after itself. I'm sorry about the glare from the sun, but there's not a lot I can do about that. We walk round. Oh, look at those snowdrops. Aren't they gorgeous, snowdrops? I absolutely loved snowdrops. So, as you can see, this is fairly wild in its own state. I don't do anything. It does it all by itself. There's daffodils coming up. There's hyacinth there, and inside, look, there's even a hyacinth flower coming up. So all's well with the world. I think the birds have been on my camellia. The flower buds seem to be disappearing at an alarming rate. There's still quite a few there, so I might get some flowers, more flowers than I normally do. So, what are we looking for? A variation of habitats. Now here we've got grasses, shrubs, trees, not giant trees like the ones outside, but there's trees. Now the voles and the mice that live in the garden have got plenty of nesting spaces. They can nest in amongst here, underneath the logs. There's various logs. There was about 2.5 ton of logs put on this area, and as you can see, there's not a lot left of them. They've well rotted down. Ground cover, leaves, all vital, all very vital for habitat. There is nothing really I can do much here to extend. It's already at its maximum. I know that this is already rich in wildlife here. As I say, the voles, the field vole and the field mice live in this area, so they seem quite happy here. And over there, the birds love this area too. They nest along the hedging. The wall is full of lichen and moss, and the moss is in flower. Yeah, unfortunately that's as good as it gets with flower. Unfortunately there's not a lot I can do about volume at the moment, because my microphones are packed up. I've lost one when I was trying to do some filming in the week, and I I've not been able to refine it, and unfortunately it seems to have affected the use of the other one, so I don't know. Primrose, don't come out and flower. Good morning, Bo. You going for your walk? Go on then. That's it. Now, what am I going to do to extend the wildlife in this garden? Well, when I cut the hedge over the back there, I ended up with all this. I was going to chip it, and then I thought to myself, why don't I make a dead hedge? So that's one of the jobs we'll be doing, is making a dead hedge. You alright, Bo? He's looking for the birds. He can hear the robin somewhere. So, what do we want? We want variety. That's the main thing, variety. And let it go a bit wild. Don't be over anxious to tidy up to make it look better. Let it go wild a bit. There's plenty of time over the winter to leave it. Let the insects and everything else have it wild. And then this time of year, tidy it up, but don't tidy up too much, because you're wanting that to be wild. I've just noticed this is out in flower. How beautiful. Other thing is feeders, bird feeders. I use fat balls because it's the easiest thing to use here. If I use seeds, I normally find that I get 1,000,000 trillion seeds sprouting at the base of the feeders, with 1,000,000 trillion weeds. Apple. I've already had a flock of coal tits. Not coal tits. Yes, coal tits on the apples already. Wherever I can, I've got some form of hedge, as well as the natural hedge which is outside the property on the other side of the wall here. New addition to the garden is the sun. Don't you just love it? I love it. Yes, I do. Right, now, I was going to do something here, but then I decided not to, so I've got this grape to move here. I've still got work to do. Under the cupboard there is a banana plant which I put in last year. That was moved from this clump here. More. Just look at them, aren't they beautiful? So, we want to rewild this a little bit more. It gets quite wild in the summer. There is nesting space. Birds will use the clumping bamboo to nest in. And there is the hedge along here, which I know is used for nesting. But even so, not resting on my laurels, I do have a nest box there which is regularly used, and even a teapot. Yeah, a teapot. It's quite chilly. Oh, hello, Bo. So Lucy, what are you doing, Bo? Oh dear me. He wants to be in the picture. There you go. So one of the first things I'm going to do today is assess the areas where yes, Bo. assess the areas that I'm going to improve. As I say, look at your garden, take a good slow look around. Don't do it in one go. Look around, think about it, go and look around again, have another think, assess it in your mind, run through what you'd like to do, how practical it is to do it, can it be done, will it look okay, will it look a mess, is it going to be wildlife friendly? Once you've got those questions answered, then it's a case of saying, right, now I'm going to look at the garden and see those areas which I can improve and how I'm going to improve them. So I'm going to go around the garden and have a look and see, and then over the course of the next couple of weeks I'm going to be doing some improvement, 1 or 2 jobs every week of doing the improvements, and in between these videos I'll be doing other videos of things like sowing, the greenhouse, general other work in the garden and so on. So I say, it's been a little while since I did my last video, but it's just been life getting very busy. So until the next video, take care, stay safe and stay warm, because it's flipping cold here in the UK. Take care. I thought I'd do the dead hedge using them branches and that. First thing you need to do is get some uprights in, and the branches lay between the uprights. Bo's taken a lesson in this as well. Bo, come here. Got a leaf against his eye, there you go, that's gone now. So they're hammered in, these are attached to the canes going across. Now I've used canes because I've got no suitable branches that I can put in. Once I've filled this to a certain height, then these will get cut down on this side, and that'll give me a dry hedge along there. Now dry hedges can be used by insects for overwintering, they can be used for insects to even lay eggs in, they can be used by mice and voles to run between one area of vegetation to another. As you can see between the two lots of bamboo, there's a nice gap really, which exposes them to predation. It also means that they won't be very keen to run from one place to another. So with a dead hedge in, that should solve the problem. Also, when it becomes just thick enough and such, even wrens will and robins, dunnocks can nest in these hedges. So let's go get some branches. Well, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do this, but basically what you're doing, you're putting these branches in between the 2 sticks. Okay, so you're going to try and thicken up. As these gradually rot down, you'll just keep adding more branches and it'll get thicker and thicker. So don't be worried if you think that it's going to be too open. That's going to be used as a good runway for the voles and the mice. In amongst, I've put some dead ivy, some conifer cuttings, and it'll just keep getting built up. Now you're trying to keep On one side, which is the garden side, I'm not worried if any of it pokes through. On this side, I want to keep it so that it's smooth. Once it's done, these all get pulled together. These outer ones will get pulled in to keep it all locked up together, and then I'll do the final trim. One of the things you need to remember is try and lock it all together. So basically I do it by getting a branch, threading it down and through. That helps to lock it all, and then lock it long ways. I take another branch, thread it through long ways, and then basically push it and wind it through. So it's being pushed and poked, as you might say, all the way through to make the dead hedge. Right, so there's about half an hour's work putting them together, and about an hour cutting them. And as you can see, along the top I put cut ivy. I won't put the ivy at the bottom in case it roots, but I will put it along the top. And then as the leaves fall down, they'll lodge in amongst the branches as well and help to thicken that up. And the other thing I do is take some of these straight branches, push them down through the centre. That helps to lock it all together as well. So, project number 1 is done for now until I get more branches, and I'll gradually keep building up. As this sinks, I'll just carry on building up the hedge height to this height here, which is about 2.5 foot. Well, that was a good couple of hours work. So I'm back indoors now. So yeah, dead hedge. Very simple. Stakes in the ground about every couple of feet. Branches, don't cut them down to small amounts. Leave them, as thick as you can. Push them down. Trim up the side, or both sides if you need to trim both sides. And then what I do is the finish, if I've got anything with leaves on, like the ivy, I've got plenty of ivy out there, I put that over along the top so that as the leaves die off and trickle down, they get lodged in, and it all goes to help make up the volume of the hedge. Now, as I've said, it's dead hedges, just like a normal hedge, can be very wildlife friendly. They can be used as highways for voles and mice, and depending on where they are and how thick they are, they can be used for nesting, for birds like wrens, dunnocks, robins, any of the ground nesting birds that like to nest at the bottom of hedges. So now the thickness can depend on what you've got going in there. Mine is only about 9 inches to a foot thick, it'll be, and therefore I don't overly expect much, if any, nesting, but it will be used by the field voles and the field mice in the garden to run back and forth to the feeder and pick up the seeds that have been dropped by the birds out of the feeder. So project number 1 is done. Now the 2 canes at the top I tied together with hemp string. The reason why I use hemp string is because any small amounts which are not used, I cut up into 2-inch sections, drop it on the floor. It either rots into the ground, or the birds come along, pick it up and use it for their nesting. And in some of the nests, which are the old nests, which I've found in the couple of nest boxes which I've got along the hedge side, there's small bits of string being used, incorporated into their nesting material. So it gives them just add a little bit extra. Things like dog hair. If you've got a dog or a cat, and when you're brushing them, any hair in the brush or the comb, put it in amongst your dead hedge. The birds will go in there, pull it out in the right time of year and use it to incorporate into their nests. If you're out for a walk, sheep's wool, do the same with sheep's wool. The birds in the garden will use it for their nests. So that's the dead hedge for now. I'm going to make a cup of tea and I'll see you in a bit.